Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about the new Ancients as well as Reso shop and of course the new craftable 7-star rarity weapons. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the first thing I want to talk about is when you log into the game, you want to run over here to Reso. So she is literally right here. As you can see, Reso, the preparation supply manager, and then you're going to talk to her. However, she will not give you this event shop icon immediately. What's going to happen is she will give you 2 quests which you need to complete in order before you can actually unlock her shop. So the first quest is quite simple. You need to defeat 2 Crocodilylis. So the Crocodilylis are pretty simple to defeat. You simply teleport up here to Mystria Woods and then you walk a little bit to the left up here and there is the veteran Crocodilylis. So you can just go there and kill it 2 times, or you can farm in the Beluga runes during the PSE burst. There is a chance of a Crocodilylis spawning, or just the regular trials as well. Or if you don't want to do any of that, you could always go to the quest counter admin over here and go do the main storyline. If we go back to chapter 3, one of these quests, I believe it's this one, searching through the woods, where you actually fight a Crocodilylis. So I'm not 100% if it's this one, but it's one of these over here. So you just need to do that one and you're guaranteed a spawn, and then you just kill it, and that way you get your 2 kills. Now once you finish part 1 of this quest, you will unlock part 2, which is the difficult one. Defeat equalizing enemies in Kvaris. You need to defeat 3 of them, and this is where things will take a very long time because well, getting an equalizing enemy to spawn in Kvaris is a pain in the butt. So personally, I just farmed at Lost Central for 3.5 hours in order to get those 3 kills. It took forever. However, if you want to speed up the process, I do recommend gathering your friends and doing the Captain Farm method. So basically everyone makes their own passworded room. You're going to clear all of the E trials, and the moment the T trial spawns, if you see an equalizing enemy, you call all your friends, you gather together, you get the kill, and you get credit. If you don't see an equalizing enemy when the trial shows up, then you just remake the room, rinse and repeat over and over, and you will be done with this quest within an hour or 2. So it's not that much faster, but it definitely is faster than just normal PSE bursting. So there is that. And after you complete both of those quests, you can now talk to Reso and you have access to the event shop over here. So you can get 20 Blizzardium every single week. So this is a weekly thing at the cost of Monotite, Duomite, Trinite, as well as Tetrasite, 10 of each, very simple. Now you can also get your low temperature damage resistance if you need these. However, keep in mind the 50% one and the 100% one does drop in Lost Central. So I personally do not recommend wasting your valuable materials over here in order to exchange for the 100% one or the 50% one, because getting these notable materials is kind of a pain in the butt. So I personally just farm for all of mine, or even better, if you just have armor with the resistance on them already and you have more than 100%, then you'll be fine in the Gorge. Now next up are all of the different decold standards and decold mites over here. So if you do want any decold mite, which actually gives you 25% resistance to low temperature as well as melee potency plus 2.5%, you will need a decold standard 3 plus 5 gigas mite 3s and 100 icicle orbs in order to make this. But if you do make this, then you can put on any armor that you want, and then you don't need to rely on those red box armors if you care about this augment, that is. However, of course, the main star of this shop is going to be the new craftable 7-star rarity weapons, the Kaizaar series. So in order to make the Kaizaar series, you are going to need a rocks weapon at plus 50 or greater. So let's say that I want to make the Kaizaar katana, I will need the rocks katana at plus 50, and then I'll need 60 icicle cubes, 900 icicle orbs, and 150 Blizzardium. So Blizzardium is going to be the bottleneck. This is the hardest thing to get because 150 of them, I believe you can get 2 a day from just the open field. I'm not 100% sure about that. When I have more details, I'll probably make a follow-up video on all the different sources on where to get Blizzardium. But I only know one place to get Blizzardium and you only get 1. So other than that, I will be buying out the shop here as well. So this is 20 every week. So even with that, it's going to take a very long time for me to get 150 Blizzardium. So that is a little bit unfortunate. That's like almost 7 weeks, 6 weeks if I do the open world stuff. But that just seems like a pain in the butt in order to get the 7-star rarity weapon. However, of course, we have to ask ourselves, are the Kaizaar weapons worth it? Are they better than the rugged weapons? So if we look at just raw damage, the rugged weapon has 5 more attack damage versus the Kaizaar katana. So you have to keep that in mind, that if you just look at raw damage, the rugged weapon series are still going to be superior. And on top of that, if we look at the weapon potentials, so the weapon potential for the rugged weapon is plus 25% potency, minus 30% PP consumption for 20 seconds when you consume 300 PP, and there's a 10-second cooldown. Now do keep in mind the rugged weapons are just like the relic series, so there are multiple or different types of potentials. So this is just the katana one. However, if like the rod has a different effect, so forth and so on, so do keep that in mind. While the Kaizaar series all have the same potential of plus 17% potency, 10% critical hit rate, minus 10% PP consumption, and photon blast gauge charge when attacking plus 20%. This is the same for all weapon types for the Kaizaar series. So you do need to keep that in mind, that the Kaizaar series might be good for specific classes, but might not be good for other classes. So depending on what class you play, you need to compare your rugged series versus the Kaizaar series to see what fits your personal playstyle the best. However, something that I like about the Kaizaar series is the plus 10% critical hit rate because of the variants. So the variants of the rugged weapons as well as the Kaizaar weapons are both at 50% to 100%, which means that you're going to hit really big numbers, but you're also be hitting really small numbers, and there's a lot of variance, or there's a lot of RNG involved when you're hitting mobs and you're dealing damage. And because of this, critical hits are actually going to help you quite a bit, because when you critical hit, it always deals 120% of your weapon's damage. There's zero variance in that, and so having extra critical hit might be something to look at. However, the problem with the Kaizaar series right now is I don't know if you can get a Kaizaar weapon with a high fixa on it. Because if we look at the event shop over here, we are exchanging a plus 50 weapon for a regular Kaizaar katana. We don't actually know if our augments as well as the enhancement as well as everything on the rocks weapon is going to carry over to the Kaizaar katana. But from history, if we were to look at base PSO2, it worked that way. So let's say that I had a fully augmented plus 50 rocks katana. When I upgraded it into the Kaizaar katana, all of the augments as well as the enhancements would also carry over. So that brings the question of, if I have a rocks katana with like a fixa fatale 4, which gives me 12% critical rate, if I carry that over into the Kaizaar katana, will I get 22% critical hit or not? So we will need a little bit of testing in order to see if this works or not, but that is going to play a big part on whether the Kaizaar weapons are going to be better than the rugged weapons. But another thing to consider are the Kaizaar weapons are not sellable, okay? So because these are craftable or exchanged weapons, they are going to be bound to your account. You cannot put these on the player market and sell them. So that is another downside. That is, if you invest into these weapons, well, when we upgrade to 8-star rarity weapons or something better, well, these weapons become redundant and they're going to be stuck in your inventory and you can't exchange it for money or anything else, okay? But next up, we have to talk about the materials, of course. So where do we get the icicle cubes as well as the icicle orbs? So as you can see here, I have 24 icicle cubes. In order to get the cubes, you are going to need to kill ancient enemies. So as I said before, ancient enemies are going to be in the gorge area. There's a little cave entrance right here, and you go in and you fight the ancient. So I'm going to roll some B-roll over here of the ancient. So basically the ancients act the same way as a veteran. So they respawn on average every 15 minutes. So you'll just see this giant egg when it spawns. You do not need to wait for a storm. So that is something that's great. You know, they just spawn every 15 minutes. So basically, if you want to farm for these ancients, you can just camp in a room. Once the ancient spawns, you kill the ancient, and then you just hang out in the gorge area and kill all of the random mobs or the wildlife, and then wait 15 minutes and go right back and the egg will respawn. It's very, very simple. It's very straightforward. Now, there are two different variants of ancients. There's the Frostel, which is considered the easier boss, and there is also AMS. If you get AMS, well, good luck. The boss flies around everywhere, punches everything, and kills everything very quickly, and it is a lot harder to fight versus the Frostel, where its attacks are a lot slower, it's a lot easier to predict, and I personally think the Frostel boss is much, much easier compared to AMS. So in conclusion, I think this update is great. It does add a level of endgame to NGS because now you can go to the Gorge area and just keep farming those ancients, and you're slowly working your way towards a 7-star rarity weapon. However, on top of that, the ancients themselves also have a chance of dropping the rugged series. So if you get lucky and boom, you get the rugged series, well, you save yourself a lot of headache because then you don't need to go the lengthy process of crafting the Kaizaar series. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!